normally meet with Jimmy. He's out this week, so I'm Emily. And I'm going to give you guys a quick update, and then I'll get to all of your questions. Okay? So thanks for coming. A couple of highlights from the past week. So last week in DC, Congresswoman Gabbard, a member of the Congressional LGBT Equality Caucus, honored the victims of last year's shooting at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida. She's an original co-sponsor of a resolution introduced in the House of Representatives, which commemorates the 1-year anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, and stated, on the 1-year anniversary of the tragic Pulse nightclub shooting, we mourn the 49 innocent men and women who lost their lives, and our hearts go out to the survivors, friends, families, and the larger Orlando community. If there's any lesson to be learned from this injustice, it is that we must continue to fight to ensure the safety and equality of all people, regardless of their sexual orientation. So that statement should be in all of your packets as well. She also denounced Republican efforts to exclude Native Hawaiians from Native housing legislation. You guys may have talked about this with the other offices. And the full statement is in your packets as well. She voted for passage of a bipartisan VA accountability bill, encouraged economic opportunity for Hawaii businesses at the annual Hawaii on the Hill Policy Summit. And so you can read more about all of that in your handout. This past weekend, the Congresswoman was in Hawaii. She attended the Hokulea homecoming ceremony and celebration at Magic Island, and joined thousands of families, students, educators, sustainability organizations, ocean conservationists, voyaging wa'a groups, residents and visitors from around the world in welcoming Hokulea and their crew home to Hawaii. While she was here in Hawaii, she spoke to hundreds of Hawaii youth at the opening of the World Youth Congress at the Convention Center on Sunday. And her speech focused on the principles of sustainability and conservation, replenishing what we take, putting need over greed, and giving back to our home. So you can read more about those events in your handout as well.
And I would just like to comment, thank her.
Sure.
I was at the World Youth Congress.
Oh,
there,
great.
And the kids, the youth from all over the world, I think it was a very well spoken and well received presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I will pass that on. I was there as well. It was really beautiful. I think it's going on all of this week. And then the final update before we get to your questions, the Congresswoman will be hosting a telephone town hall this upcoming Monday, which is June 26th at 4:00 p.m. On hurricane and disaster preparedness. So she will be joined by Hawaii Emergency Management Agency Administrator Vern Miyagi, Anna Faust from Maui Emergency Management, Elton Ushio from Kauai Emergency Management, Talmadge Magno of Hawaii Island Civil Defense Agency, and Melvin Kaku of the Honolulu Department of Emergency Management to answer questions from the community, discuss the forecast for the upcoming hurricane season, and review new recommendations that Hawaii residents prepare an emergency kit with a minimum of 14 days of food, water, and other supplies. And that's a recently changed announcement that's been made by emergency management. It used to be 7 days of supplies, and they're now recommending that Hawaii folks have 14 days. So trying to get the word out on that. Hurricane season started June 1st and goes to November 30th. So that will be open to the public and a kind of conference call town hall. So those are my updates, and I can take your questions now.
Is Ms. Gabbard planning on being here for the 4th of July recess?
I don't have her schedule, but I can pass that on.
In August, will she be here for the August recess?
Yes, she's usually here for August. I know that she has some training that she has to do, so I don't know her schedule, but I'll pass that on to Jimmy.
I would like to see her, I realize Trump Care is not in the House anymore, but I would like to see her lend her voice to scrutinizing the GOP and the tactics that they're pulling in the Senate, and also if she could encourage other Democratic senators to do things like participate in the Vote-A-Rama and go up the process. Because I know healthcare is an issue that she has been passionate about, and so I think her voice would really be helpful.
Okay, I will pass that on.
Relative to the disaster preparedness, do we still not have any nominee to lead FEMA or NOAA?
I can check on that. As far as I know, the last that I checked, we do not, but I'll check on that.
I think that's another issue we need to be vocal on.
Okay.
You know, because heaven forbid we do have a hurricane, we'll need good leadership at FEMA.
Yeah.
leadership at FEMA would be good.
Yes.
So one thing we talked about in some of the other offices is that, like, while a lot of the things on, like, the focus on Russia and stuff has been happening, the GOP has been doing a lot of other things. Like, DeVos is not protecting LGBTQ students. They're rolling back the defense to repayment. In Obama, the food labels, environmental protections being halted. What is your guys' office focus? What do you see that our focus needs to be? Just where are you guys with the other things that are going on in the country, and what are your immediate actions that you're trying to take?
I don't have, like, I can't speak on behalf of the Congresswoman for that, but I can pass on those concerns to her, you know, that it's not, you know, just the news headlines talking about Russia, but obviously all the concerns that you brought up as well. So I'll pass those notes on to her.
Okay, but you don't know, like, your office still works, like, your staffers work on other things too, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, we have, you know, staffers responsible for different issue areas. Obviously, the Congresswoman is on the Foreign Affairs Committee and the Armed Services Committee, and so, you know, we have the National Defense Authorization Bill that comes up every year in that Armed Services Committee. So that's one of the things that's coming up, and you know, she's you know, working always to make sure that Hawaii priorities are, you know, continue to be funded, and that Hawaii continues to get, you know, their priorities taken care of in that bill. So. That's one thing that's coming up, but obviously there's, you know, a large host of issues that we're working on.
Okay.
Yeah.
It appears that in the House, the committees that would be following up on the Russia issues, the Russia interference in our election, they're not following up. It seems the House Intelligence Committee had started but has stopped. They've sputtered. And also the Judiciary Committee in the Senate is looking to start, and the Judiciary in the House has not said anything about that. Ms. Gabbard's on the Foreign Affairs. Wouldn't this also be considered a foreign affair? Would that be something that the Russia issues would be considered under the Foreign Affair Committee? Could they do hearings?
I don't know about that. Generally how it works is when a bill is introduced, then it gets assigned to a committee of jurisdiction. So I'm not sure if the Foreign Affairs Committee has jurisdiction over those bills, but I can look into that for you.
Well, not so much a bill, but an investigation into the interference in our election.
Okay.
And since the other House committees are not following up with that, could that be taken up by the by the Foreign Affairs Committee?
Okay. I'll have to get back to you on that, but I'll write it down as a concern.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And I thought I had read somewhere that the Trump administration was trying to lighten the sanctions that Obama had imposed for the meddling in the 2016 election. And so would that qualify then in her jurisdiction to an investigation of that, or is there any power that she holds being on the Foreign Affairs Committee with that?
Sorry, I was writing down that part, so I didn't hear the beginning of your question. Can you just say that part again?
So I read that the Trump administration is trying to lighten the sanctions that were put on Russia for the meddling into the election. And so I was wondering if there's anything that she can be done being on the Foreign Affairs Committee, like if there's anything with an investigation, if there's anything that falls into her purview power.
I'm not sure, but again, I can write that down and find out for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question about her town hall. How do we participate in that?
So the registration information should be, we just put out the announcement this morning.
Okay.
And so it should be in your packet, but if it's not, if you go to...
sorry, it's right here.
That's
Yep.
okay.
Okay.
In case you misplaced this, it's on our website. So if you go to gabbard.house.gov, the first picture that pops up has a link, join us for our town hall, and then you click on that and it has a couple different ways that you can register. You can text to register, you can sign up for a reminder phone call that day, or you can just call into a number and at the time of the event and listen in. So there's a couple different ways to participate.
Okay. Can we try to encourage
Thank
that
you.
she has another public in-person town hall whenever she's here on recess?
Sure.
It was the phone ones we found that there's been a lot of issues with.
Okay.
We had it like one time there was one I think that they called me and I called and then like my phone dropped and then I couldn't get back on.
Okay.
Also we had a hard time like being able to even ask questions. Like everybody, it just kind of seemed like the same question kept on coming up, and then like even though people were pushing the buttons to be able to ask a question, they never got a chance to.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I will pass that on.
Again, if I could suggest, people felt the it was hard to get a question in, get some kind of, upvoting, or, post the questions on Facebook and have people upvote the ones that they wanted to answer most, So somehow a representative series of questions got up rather than
Yeah.
just one on the phone. People have, you know, there's different
Yeah.
ways of making sure that most important questions
Yeah.
get to the top.
Okay. I'm not sure if that's like how we currently do them, if that's possible, but I can look into it. Yeah.
Because there was some frustration if it
Yeah.
there wasn't, if you could find a way.
Well, I think with,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
with all of our representatives, one of the things, you know, when we have the public town halls is that we stress a concern that we don't want it to feel scripted. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
That
yeah.
we want people to be able to ask authentic questions and that for that to come up and not to feel like it's a pre-selected sort of thing. And that goes with shots, with Rona, with everybody.
Yeah.
That's something that we stress.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I will definitely write that down.
Alright, anybody else?
Anybody else?
I wanted to know what her current position is on all the military action that the U.S. is taking because of the freedom that the Pentagon has been given, and what her position is on that. It seems like we've just gone to brute force across the world since Trump has allowed the Pentagon to do whatever they want for diplomacy and whatnot.
Okay.
What's her position on that?
Well, that's something I can write down and get back to you on.
Maybe Syria? Do you know what her perspective is on Syria right now?
I mean, you know, she's introduced the Stop Arming Terrorist Act, and that's something that she's continuing to work on. I can follow up and try and you know, pass on a request for, you know, more information on that.
Right.
That would be helpful
So
for you guys.
specifically, I mean, I hate to even get into Syria, but totally different subject than what we're used to talking about in Syria. It seems like there's the Russian-backed Assad team, and there's the U.S.-backed team, and there's ISIS in the middle. As ISIS collapses, there's going to be a collision between the U.S.-backed team and the Russia-backed team. And this could be very bad news.
Especially if we shoot down their planes.
Right. So as a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee,
Yes.
you know, I'm wondering, is anybody thinking about this? Are there plans, or is there a strategy, or are we just going to wait and watch it happen?
I don't have information on that right now, but I can pass it on
Right.
and follow up next
Right.
week.
It'd be a good leadership opportunity, I think.
Okay.
Because I'm sure there's not going to be anything coming out of the White House that's anybody would call remotely like leadership.
Okay.
So if there's going to be anything, it'll be from Congress.
Okay.
Yeah, good point.
Okay.
Okay.
I have an in-house.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you go ahead.
This, Jimmy last week very kindly followed up on the status of my green card,
Okay.
because I'm travelling next week, and is it Shingai?
Can I just make one note about that? Unless you're okay with that being on camera, but I don't know if you'd rather talk about
Rather
that
not.
personally with a caseworker.
Yeah, I'll talk to
Okay, yeah, I can see if somebody's here now to talk with you, and if not, then yeah, I just want to make sure that we're protective of your privacy.
Oh, it doesn't, I'm very an open
Okay.
book. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, that's better.
But Shingai in our office does handle those immigration casework cases. So
Yeah,
I
I
can-
just need to tell him that he needs to change something.
Okay, I'll follow up with him and see if he's here. Anything else?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.